Hey everybody, we're back with another modern hook crochet tutorial. What we're going to be making today is a corner to corner pumpkin, and what we're going to need is this skein of yarn. I use the Big Twist value yarn from Joann's, and I have it in the color Rust. Really like this color, it makes a really pretty pumpkin, but this is what I'm using today. And then you're also going to need a size 4mm hook. So let's go ahead and begin. So to start this off, we're going to get a slip knot on our hook. We're going to go ahead and chain 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and double crochet into the 4th chain from your hook. And you're going to complete 3 more double crochets till you get to the end of your chain. So altogether, when you're counting that skipped 3, you should have 4 double crochets. So you have the 1, 2, 3, and 4. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to chain up 6, 3, 4, 5, 6, and we're going to double crochet into the 4th chain from your hook and keep double crocheting down that chain. So again, you should have 4 double crochets here when you count that chain 3 that you skipped. And you're going to go ahead and insert your hook into this chain 3 space, like in between the chain 3 and your first double crochet from that last cluster that you just did. You're inserting your hook in the end of that. You're going to pull through, so you're slip stitching, and you're going to 1, 2, 3 chains up, and you're going to insert 3 more double crochets in that spot. So again, you have another cluster of 4 double crochets, and you're going to just keep doing this. So you're going to chain 6 before you turn your work. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. You're going to double crochet in that 4th chain from your hook, and you're working down that chain with more double crochets. So you should have 3 double crochets total at that point. You're going to turn your work. So if you see what I did, I have my work this way, and I'm turning my work so that I can work into that chain 3 space from the previous cluster that I did. I'm slip stitching into that, and 1, 2, 3 chains up, and I'm going to insert my hook and insert 3 more double crochets in that spot. And then I'm going to do the same for this last cluster. And I'm literally working from corner to corner for this project. That's what this stitch is called, is a corner to corner, or C2C is what a lot of crocheters refer this stitch to. And so you're working, you started in this block, and you're working 2 and 3, and then each time you're adding 1. So our next one, we're going to be at row 4 and then row 5, and we're going to meet back when we get to row 9. So again, remember, you're chaining 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I'm talking, so I'm missing my counts. And we're going to get our 3 double crochets back on that chain 2, so 4 all together when you count that skipped 3 that you did. And we're going to work back across, and again, we're going to meet back when we get to 9 rows. Okay, so we will see you back then. Go ahead and pause this video, and we will meet back. Now we've made it to row 9. If you can tell right here, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and you should have 9 over here as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And what we're going to do is we're going to start creating a flat edge right across this piece here. So we will continue to make it to 16 rows, but your one edge is only going to be 9 rows across, so it'll be 9 by 16. So how we're gonna do that is I haven't chained any after the completion of this block here. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and turn, and I'm simply going to slip stitch across all of those double crochets from my last cluster, and I'm going to even insert a slip stitch into that chain 3 space as well, and I'm going to chain 3 again, and I'm going to insert my 3 double crochets here. So again, 4 all together, and that is how we're going to create this flat edge for our 9 rows across. So now we're going to start working up this way with a flat piece. So you're never going to go over this 9 here. So how we're going to continue is we're going to insert our hook, chain 3, and complete our 3 more double crochets. If you want to go ahead and pause this video, we'll make it to the end of this row, and I'll show you exactly what we're doing for the end of this row number. This would be row number 10. So let's go ahead and pause, and I'll meet you back. We've made it to the end of row 10. I haven't completed my row 10 quite yet. I'm going to go ahead and chain 6 again, because we still want to make this side go to, oop, I lost it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We still want to make this side go to 16 rows, and this one's going to be 9. So it'll be a 9 by 16 square rectangle that you're making, and we are not completed with the 16 yet, obviously. So we're going to continue, and remember, when you get to the end of this row, so this is row 11, then when you get to the end of this row, you're still going to slip stitch across that last block that you're making, so that you have this flat edge. So we'll meet back when we get to that point so that I can show you that one more time. We've made it to the end of the row, and again, we're trying to make this row that straight edge at that 9 across. So we are inserting our hook again to that chain 3 space, and we're slip stitching it. We're turning our work, and we're going to go ahead and slip stitch across the top of those double crochets you just created, and slip stitch into that, again, that chain 3 that you had created in your last block that you made, last cluster. And you're chaining 3, and you're going to work again corner to corner back across your work. So like I said, you're going to have 9 here, and you're going to have 16 up. And then when we complete that, we're going to meet back so that I can show you exactly how we're going to finish our pumpkin. We've made it to row 16 here. So we have our 9 across. Now we've made it to 16 up. And what we're going to do is we're going to start creating that flat edge along this end of your work. So you're going to do the same thing up here as you did on this side. So let's go ahead and continue to do that, and we will meet back once that's completed. At this point, you're making this rest of this corner, and then we will have a piece of material that we would, I guess for lack of a better term, it's material, right? That we will transform into a pumpkin. We've made it to the end of our work. I haven't completed my last little square. I wanted to do it together, so let's go ahead and chain up 3. And if you've already done this, not a problem. I'm just going to go ahead and do it together here. I have already snipped my yarn. I did try to record this one time before, and we had technical difficulties, so bear with me here. I've got 2 double crochets and a 3rd double crochet. I'm going to go ahead and insert my hook here, and we are going to slip stitch across this edge so that our yarn actually ends up, our tail ends up at the, oh, I'm splitting. Our tail ends up at the corner of our work. I do think that this slip stitch does cause a little bit reinforcement for this edge too, so that's kind of nice. And we're going to go ahead and just pull that through. Now what I like to do is I like to go ahead and I like to fold my work over, and what we're going to do is we're going to actually, I like to just whip stitch down the side of this, just so that our ends connect. Well, I should probably show you how I'm doing it. I'm going to go ahead and grab a darning needle. And I am literally just stitching through here. You can go ahead and just crochet on the edge. With this edging on our corner to corner, I did find that it was just a little easier for me to just go ahead and whip stitch here. So you can do it either way, whatever way you're most comfortable. Like I said, I'm just going down this side, and once you're completed with that, we'll go ahead and meet back and I'll show you exactly how we're gonna finish off our pumpkin. I've completed this. I have my little cylinder. You can see right straight through it. And what I'm going to do is I still have my yarn attached. I'm going to go ahead and just weave through. So I'm inserting my needle this way, inserting back this way, and I'm kind of weaving through my whole bottom of my pumpkin. This is going to be the bottom. And we're going to pull this tight so that we have a closed end for when we want to stuff our pumpkins. So go ahead and complete this. And I don't weave in my ends. I actually just tie them and leave them in the center of the pumpkin. I don't see why that would be a problem for this pumpkin either. We're gonna go ahead and just tuck this one into the center of our pumpkin. And I'm actually gonna use that to tie this yarn off too. So I'm gonna push this into the center here. I'm gonna go ahead and kind of turn my work inside out a little bit and pull. And like I said, this other end that's still attached to my project, I'm gonna just go ahead and pull this tight and see how we cinched it together. Pull it nice and tight, and let's go ahead and we wanna just make sure that we don't have any hole here. We're gonna go ahead and pull it nice and tight here and tie it. And what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna take the ends because it seems like it's a little loose still. So what I like to do is I like to just go ahead and knot this. I'm gonna take one of my ends. I'm gonna take the longer piece of yarn here. We got a lot going on right now, but I like to take this and just kind of close that a little bit better. Because like I said, we've already cinched it, so we wanna make sure that that doesn't come loose, and that the stuffing, when you go to stuff your pumpkin, that it won't fall out the bottom either. So again, we're gonna just go ahead and tie this a couple more times. And let's go ahead and, like I said, I just like to, I'm gonna cut off just a little of the excess, but I just tuck it into the center of the pumpkin. And so we have a closed edge right there. See how cute that is? And then we're going to go ahead and grab this yarn that's up here. And we are going to make it just a little bit shorter, I think. And we're gonna go ahead and stuff our pumpkin. So what I like to use is I literally just use some polyfill. If you can see it right in the screen. I get this one from Hobby Lobby, which it's a relatively decent price. If you're making a lot of pumpkins, you might want to get a little bit more polyfill. And I learned that the trick is to make sure that your polyfill is nice and fluffy. So you pull it apart just like so, and go ahead and stuff your pumpkin. This is an art form as well as the actual crocheting the pumpkin. I've learned that too. So make sure that it's nice and, I want to make sure it's nice and snug here, because when we go to add the seams of the pumpkin, I guess I would call them the seams. I'll show you exactly what we're doing. When we go to add that, we want to make sure that it's nice and poofy. So not too much, because you don't want to see the stuffing out the side of your pumpkin either. So that's about right there. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and do the same thing. We're gonna grab our darning needle and we're going to close the top of our pumpkin. So we're, again, weaving in and out. This might be a little bit too much stuffing here because I can kind of see it out the side of my pumpkin. So I'm gonna just remove just a little bit of it here. Stick it back in the bag. And like I said, we're gonna just weave our needle in and out of the side of the pumpkin. This part doesn't necessarily have to be perfect because, I mean, what pumpkin when you go to the patch looks exactly perfect, but it'll be so cute when it's done though. So, like I said, we're weaving in and out the side of our pumpkin. And when you get to the end, we're gonna just go ahead and cinch it. Nice and chunky pumpkin. Okay. And you kind of do see some of the filling, but it's not that big of a deal. I know there's some people that like to put their stuffing into like a nylon so that you can't see it and it's kind of contained a little bit more. But I'm gonna just leave it just like this. I haven't had a problem with it since I've started making these. So we're closing that top just the same. And I'm actually gonna put a stem on my pumpkin too, and I'll show you how we're gonna do that. But let's tie off our work. I'm gonna just go ahead and do this. I'm gonna put a couple knots at the top, and I'm gonna actually just stick it right back down into my pumpkin and put it out the bottom. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and make I was calling them the seams of the pumpkin, but if you have a better word for it, please comment down below, because I'm really not sure what you would call them. But man, I'm splitting this today. Okay, so you're getting some more yarn and you're going to go ahead and go through, I like to go through the bottom and bring it out the top. And I like to add 5 of these around my pumpkin. So what I'm doing is I'm going ahead and pulling that bunch of yarn there. I'm going to bring it out the top and I'm bringing it back around and down and up through my pumpkin again. And this is how you get that other crunchy shape of the crunch shape of the pumpkin, so that the pumpkin sits a little more flat. And we're doing that again. I tend to do this 5 or 6 times. And like I said, you want to watch how stuffed you get your pumpkin, because you don't want that stuffing to come out the sides. And you want to watch how tight you pull it as well. But we're going to just keep on going. And I think we need one more right here in the center of those first and the last one here. Here we go. All right. And I do have some stuffing that kind of is coming out the top with from where I was poking my yarn. And what I'm gonna do is just grab I'm not finding my end. Here it is. There we go. So I just kind of form it with my hands a little bit better. Make sure that stuffing is nice and snug in there. Got some stuffing fuzzies. And I'm gonna make this go right. I'm gonna just kind of tuck it here and go right back down to the bottom so that I can tie it off here. And I'm going to go ahead and just cut here. And like I said, I like to just tuck my ends right on up in my pumpkin. So if you want to do that, you can. I just knot it at the bottom and then I grab my hook and tuck it down through. And I'm grabbing my yarn and pulling it up through, up inside my pumpkin. Some of the times I pull it all the way through, and at that point then I just go ahead and I dropped it. If I pull it all the way up through, then I just go ahead and I snip it when it's up at the top so that I have a nice chunk of yarn right into the bottom of my pumpkin, or inside of my pumpkin. There we go. This one I'm not going to pull all the way through. I'm going to just go ahead and I've got a good chunk of it in there, and I'm going to go ahead and just cut it off. Alrighty. That's a pumpkin so far. Let's go ahead and get our stem in. For my stem, I just used a nice little twig. I cut it down from my backyard, so super simple. And I'm just inserting it into the top of my pumpkin. I kind of twist it a little, and I really like the long stems. This is a little long, and I just kind of twist it right on in there. That's actually really cute. But yep, this is how I make my pumpkin. This is a corner to corner pumpkin. So thank you so much for watching. We're gonna go ahead and stop this video right now, and I would love to see everybody's pumpkins. If you go ahead and tag me on social media, Instagram or Facebook, I would love to see what your product is. Super cute texture, and it's fall time to make these pumpkins and get decorating. Alrighty, I'll see you back for the next video. Go ahead and subscribe down below so that you don't miss out on what's coming next. Thank you so much for watching.